Skiers, what you got there?
99.
I'm gonna follow you. Think
they're a nice, fun turning ski.
Would you
consistent.
Say this is like perfect conditions for
this is ideal consistent
for the Ranger 99 there?
I'd say so. Little mixed variable conditions and ripping into the hard and blowing through the cow.
Yeah.
Woo.
Hi skiers, I'm Jeff from SkiEssentials.com. This is Bob. We're here back in the Ski Essentials studio to wrap up this review of the Ranger 99 Ti. Pretty cool ski. You saw some quick thoughts from Marcus there on it. That day back in December when we first got to test it, very mixed conditions. It was a really good test day. It was firm underneath, like 6 to 8 inches of fresh snow. So definitely we're able to test the edge grip because it was pretty bulletproof under there. Able to test the soft snow performance, maneuverability. Just really, really good testing conditions. Hopefully a couple weeks ago you saw the Ranger 94 FR review. We thought we would kind of follow that up with this ski because there are just some general differences between the two lines that is kind of fun to talk about here. And the Ranger series, or the Ranger TI series specifically, has been updated for 2020 as well. So Bob, let's just kind of cover some of the changes. Still a rocker camber rocker profile.
Yep.
But it's longer effective edge now than it has been in years past. You brought up something really interesting recently about the differentiation between the TI and the FR group and how they're kind of really trying to focus those lines and differentiate them even more, which we'll get to. But more effective edge, less rocker. Then they increased the amount of metal in the ski as well. So it's wider underfoot. It's also longer too. So the metal kind of tapers after that underfoot section, and then there's a center strip of metal that actually goes all the way up, and now it connects to that carbon tip.
Yeah.
So still the same carbon tip, but less rocker, more metal.
Yep.
Far less tail rocker in these skis than the FR range, which I think is important to note. And that's basically it. You know, if you've seen our Ranger 94 FR review, or maybe you also saw the 2020 Fischer preview, you've probably already got a good sense of how these skis are constructed. Fischer does a pretty unique thing with their carbon tip. They all kind of have a similar look, a similar feel to them, or a similar vibe. So, Bob, you skied this ski a little bit more than I got a chance to. Fortunately, you've tested pretty much the entire Ranger line, as we talked about right before this.
Mm-hmm.
So just give me your initial reaction to this 99 Ti.
Well, I got to ski it I didn't get to go during that nice snowy day. I skied it during our ski test, which was a good mix of hard snow in the morning and soft snow in the afternoon. And I got on it in the afternoon, so hard snow, at the top of the mountain, definitely softer at the bottom. If you like the Ranger 98 Ti from years past, you'll still like this.
Yep.
Not a huge difference, but you could definitely tell that it was more trail oriented. The skis hook right up, and where you really feel the strength is from midfoot back through the tail. As Jeff was saying, that metal does connect to the tip, so that helps you lead in, but really a lot of the strength is found in the tail. Great rebound coming out of the back end of the ski. And we talked about those differences between the FR line, and I think they're just trying to differentiate the two lines a little bit more, with this being more of a trail-oriented ski and the FR being more off-piste and adventure-oriented. Whether they're kind of taking aim at these more trail skis like a Bonafide or a Mantra. I think they're going that way, and it does make sense that they would do that and have that FR line be of that more off-piste ski. But initial impressions of this is that it's more solid than the 98s of old, but it still has that great maneuverability, thanks to that carbon nose. Very light in the front of the ski and just hooks right up, and there's nothing wrong with it, that's for sure.
Yeah, you brought up skis like the Bonafide, Enforcer 100,
Yep.
even M5 Mantra, because actually if you look at the specs of this, I think it's 97 underfoot. It is
Yeah.
a little narrower than what the model name would suggest. So they're all falling right into that same category. Pretty much directional all mountain skis, around 100 millimeters, and they're advanced skier, expert skier oriented.
Yeah.
I always thought the Ranger 98 fell into that category too, but I think you're totally correct in saying that they did beef this up a little bit,
Yeah.
and I think it competes against those skis. I don't want to say better, but maybe it's more like those skis than it's ever been before.
Yeah.
It is a little bit more powerful, a little bit more stable, but it does still have that Fischer feel.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Then that's something that is important to this line, and I think important just for the selection of skis on the market in general.
Mm-hmm.
You can get that same upper echelon of performance, but it's a little lighter on your feet,
Yeah.
a little easier to throw around. So I think it's a great ski. I think the changes that they made are awesome. What do you think about kind of off-piste performance, just kind of flickability, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff, especially compared to the 94 FR, because we talked about
Yeah.
that recently.
I mean, Stowe's a great place to test. I mean, you can really get a good mix of steeps, bumps, groomers, all in one run. So, I try to do that. I try to take it down some narrow woods and see how easy it can get from edge to edge and open it up on the groomers. And it's just a great place to test skis. And so doing this and the 94 FR in that same, the same terrain, you can definitely tell that this has more beef to it. That stronger tail. That 94, you can get out of the turn a lot easier. Not to say you're locked in the turn on this, but it just takes more attention to make the thing rebound and get into the next turn than the 94 FR or even the 102 FR with that turned up tail that is easier to swing around.
Yeah.
So off-piste, the FR series is easier to ski than this, and on trail this thing has much better edge control. A lot stronger edge to edge, more torsional stiffness than the
Yeah.
FRs.
And I think that the gist of it, in my opinion, is it kind of just comes down to your skiing style.
Yeah.
That FR line, it's not right for everybody,
Right.
but it's great for some people. If you're kind of more of the smeary, playful style skier,
Yeah.
maybe your stance is a little bit more upright than a traditional skiing style.
Yeah.
Those skis are going to be great. But if you're more, driving the front of the ski or the forebody of the ski and you're comfortable unweighting your tail and you like that kind of traditional skiing style,
Yeah.
this probably aligns a little bit more towards that skier.
Yeah. You probably feel more confident on this than the
Yeah.
FR.
And yeah, I think they've just done a great job differentiating these lines.
Yeah.
I kind of agree that, they felt different, but say if we went back a year, that 102 FR compared to the 98 TI, those skis felt pretty darn similar.
Yeah.
A little bit different tail shape, and basically what we're saying about the differences here, we're still there, but they've really enhanced
Yeah.
those differences.
Yeah.
Cool. I think it's an awesome ski. I think this whole Ranger line, TI and FR, I think they've done a really good job. Kind of reminds me of what Nordic is doing with the Enforcer collection. They're
Yeah.
really just kind of splitting those lines and giving you kind of two different performance avenues to go down
Yeah.
to, whichever one speaks to you more. Anything you want to add, Bob?
Just to retouch on the width aspect of it, this is the 181 here, and it states that it's 97 underfoot. The 188 states that it's 99 underfoot. So we see this in different skis where they call it the 99, but the dimensions change as the length changes. And so we do see that in the TI series here. So keep that in mind, keep length in mind when you're shopping for skis. Just make sure that the width is what you're looking for. This at 97 is now closer to a 95 than it is to a 100 underfoot. So if you're shopping for a 100 and you're skiing a 181 or shorter, you might want to consider something else. But just keep that in mind as you're shopping for skis or looking around, that dimensions do vary based on length in this model.
Yep. And that's not always the case.
Right. Yeah, just it's worth doing research, especially if you know you're looking for a 100 millimeter or plus or minus 1 or 2 underfoot.
Yep.
So just something to keep in mind.
So yeah, that's it. That's the 2020 Ranger 99 Ti. As always, let us know if you have any questions. This is obviously a very popular category.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of 100 millimeter all mountain ski category. I think we've compared it to some skis in this review, but let us know if there's anything else out there that you want us to compare it to. I can think of like 10 skis off the top of my head that we could talk
There's
about.
a lot of them.
There's definitely a lot of them,
Mm-hmm.
which reminds me, Bob and I are both busy working on our 2020 ski test results right now. So there will be all sorts of skis to compare against each other in that, and you should see the results of that test later in the summer. Lots of stuff to go through, and it's pretty fun reading through all the test forms and starting to kind of see where everything falls. Over 230 skis we tested this year, so
It's a lot of information.
lots of information for you. Keep checking back for more reviews until the ski testers result are released. And as I said last time, I guess we'll see you on the bike trails unless we're lucky enough to get to Mount Hood, or maybe somebody's skiing Jay this weekend.
Yeah.
So if you're at Jay this weekend and we're also there, maybe we'll see you on the slopes.
See ya.